What's up YouTube and welcome to this Flexbox tutorial which is one of the most amazing things you can learn as a CSS designer. So let's see how amazing is this Flexbox. So Flexbox is a type of layout. There are some other layouts like CSS grid which you can use to design your website. It is a display which we can assign using CSS. So simple enough. It deals with layout one dimension at a time. So you can use Flexbox item as a row or in a column. It is used to position elements in a certain way without disturbing the whole flow of the page. This is the most important point, that it does not disturb the flow of the page but still align the elements in a certain way which makes things easier for you. We use Flexbox like this. When we set a container's property to flex, it becomes the flex container. So a container is any div. And the items inside the flex container automatically becomes flex items. So the flex container is also referred to as a parent and the flex items are referred to as children. Let us now look at a practical example. So I'm gonna create a div with an ID of flex container. Inside that I'm gonna create flex items, item number 1. I will define the flex container display as flex and flex items. Now let us run this. So these are just boxes. So what makes the Flexbox so amazing? We can find that out by learning its properties, which makes it so flexible that it is named as a Flexbox. So the first property is the flex direction, and we have all of these options available that we can give as a value. First let us try the flex direction column. So the flex direction row is the default. When I refresh, you can see that the items are aligned as a column. We can choose the row reverse. The first item becomes the last item and the last item becomes the first. The same with the column reverse. So the same thing. Now for the second property, I will make this flex direction row, which is the default. The second property is justify content, which has all of these options. So let us look at that. So the justify content center. If I do this, all of my items will come in the center. And I have all of these other options as well, which are space around, which gives spaces at the start, at the end, and also in between. If I choose space between, then the starting and the ending space is gone and only there is space between. There are options like flex end, which makes the items float to the right, but it's better than float right because it doesn't disturb the flow of the page. So everything is happening inside one container. So let us make this center for now. So the next property is align items. So how it is different from the justify content, we will see in a second. So align items center. Refresh, you can see that nothing is changed from the justify content center. So why it is doing nothing? It is because of the size of the flex container. If I put a background color you can see that the flex container is very small. Let's make the margin of the body 0 pixels, and let me also make the size of this flex container as height 100, view height, and the width 100, view width. And now let us see the magic of the align items. So when I refresh this page, you can see that the items are at the center of the page. So what align item do is it vertically center all the items, and justify content is the horizontal center. Moving on, we have row gap and column gap. Let me show you the column gap. If I make it 100 pixels and refresh, you can see that there is gap between them. So we can give custom gap between items. So for my next property, I'm gonna increase the items. And let's remove this column gap for now. Our next property is Flexwrap. So Flexwrap, I should comment out both of these. So now you can see that the items are moving towards the second row. If I don't put this Flexwrap, then what the Flexbox does is it will shrink the items, or even the items will go off the screen, but the items won't go to the second row. So this is the default behavior of the Flexbox when Flexwrap is not on. And there is another property which is AlignContent, and this is used in combination with the Flexwrap. So if I am using the Flexwrap, it is better to use the AlignContent, and it almost does the same as the flex items. So if I choose the AlignContent flex end, then it's making all of the items appear at the last. So flex end. Now there are a bunch of properties for the flex items. There is this FlexGrow, flex shrink, align self, order, and flex basis. I will go through each of them. So there are not the best thing that you can do with flex items, but these properties are there. Let's give each of them an ID. FlexGrow 2. And what it does is, whenever we have space, the second item takes more space. I can also do this to other items as well. So item number 6, flex is 5. So you can see that the item 6 has more space and the item 2 has less space, and the other items have default space, occupies default space. So there is also this flex shrink, and if I give it any number, let me remove these these flex grow, so we can see the flex shrink clearly. And also let me remove this flex send. So you can see that when there is less space, the item 1 shrinks more. So it shrinks more than the other items. So this is what the shrink does. And then there is this align self. So you can also do align self flex send. You can see that the item 1 is aligned at the bottom of the flex box. And there is this flex basis. So let me choose the last item for this. And the last property, which is the flex basis. If I choose item number 8 to be 400 pixels, I can also do that. I can choose the order of this as second, and the second item as order 1. So you can see that the item number second is the first one and the item number 1 is after it. All of the items comes before this because they have the order 0 as a default. So we haven't given them any order. So there is a secret that I want to tell you as a bonus content, which is, let me first remove all of this content. So now all of the flex items are at the center of the page, but the content inside them is not center. So what you can do is copy both of these properties and paste them within the flex items, but they won't work because these are the properties of a flex container. So what we can do to make these flex items a flex container is we can put the display flex, and now these flex items are a parent and a child at the same time. So we can use both of the properties of the flex container as well as the flex items. So this is all for the video. Thanks for watching and do subscribe to the channel. See you next time.